Hello, my name is Dr. Caroline Walker and I'm an NHS-based psychiatrist and a full-time doctor's wellbeing specialist. And I've been making a series of videos about the emotional impact of COVID-19 on doctors. And today I really want to talk about something that I've been hearing a lot from doctors this week. So we're kind of heading to the latter part of April here in the UK. We're a few weeks into lockdown. Lockdown's just been extended for us here in the UK. And we're sort of at this strange point in time with COVID where it's kind of peaking, but it's not quite, and it all feels a bit strange. And the thing that has really struck me in the last few days that I've been hearing a lot from a lot of doctors is a sense of exhaustion, of flatness, of a kind of feeling. I think there's a lot of doctors saying they're feeling very deflated, really exhausted, perhaps not got that mojo or that get up and go that we would normally have when trying, getting up to face your day, feeling like it's just that enthusiasm has gone, really quite fed up, quite flat, and sad, and a real sense it's almost like like feeling depressed. And if you've ever felt depressed, it can feel very, very similar. And I'm hearing from a lot of doctors who've had depression in the past who are really quite worried that they might be relapsing at the moment because it feels very similar. It's a really kind of low energy state, and this is affecting a lot of doctors this week in the UK. And so I wanted to make a video about this now, but I'm aware that this will affect almost all of us at some point going forward. So even if you're not feeling this right now, you probably may, or hit this kind of feeling at some point in the coming weeks or months, because it's essentially an incredibly normal response to what what we're going through as human beings and as doctors right now. So I think there's a lot of reasons why it's happening right now for many doctors in the UK. I think we're hitting a time when a lot of that initial kind of adrenaline and those stress hormones that were keeping us going through those first weeks where everything was changing and everything was kind of very, very different and very emerging and very evolving and very quickly changing all the time. We were kind of in this high energy state, almost like an excitement or certainly an arousal state. And I think that's just wearing off now, and that happens to the human body. It wears off, and the kind of the exhaustion sets in. Perhaps if you've been having disturbed sleep for a few weeks, that's really starting to take its toll now in a longer term kind of way. And there's no end in sight at the moment. And I think that's, the reality of the fact that this is a big thing that's going to continue for some time, and that we don't know how this is going to unfold or when, but there's certainly not going to be any return to normality anytime soon. It's really starting to land and hit home for people this week. It's, the lockdowns are being extended, the children would normally be going back to school after Easter, but many aren't, obviously, as the schools are still closed, and there's this sense of the peak, kind of the cases having risen, and then we may be coping, as in some respects, as a health service here in the UK with the amount of COVID patients, but there's this sense that this is not going to be getting less anytime soon, and obviously there's other things going on. I'm going to be making other videos about things like the shortages of PPE and things like that at the moment. So there's still a lot of worry and a lot of tension. There's quite a lot of trauma and a lot of grief going on at the moment for doctors as well, and all at a time when our bodies have been kind of keeping us going for a few weeks with a lot of those stress hormones and that acute stress reaction that kind of energizes us a little bit, and we've been very effective and very efficient in getting things done and pulling together, but that's just starting to wear off for quite a few of us at the moment, and it's leaving us feeling very flat, very deflated, very tired, and quite sad and quite emotional, and really facing the reality of what we're up against at the moment. So again, I just really want to normalise this if this is what you're feeling, because what I was struck with this week is I was talking to doctor after doctor after doctor who was telling me that this is how they were feeling, and each one of them was thinking that they were the only one feeling like this, and they were like worrying, you know, what this meant for them, what this that other people weren't feeling this, what was going on, and actually it was really helpful for them and for myself as well, feeling a little bit flatter and more deflated this week, to realise that this isn't necessarily you know, something about us as individuals, but maybe just where we're at with this whole process at the moment, that, you know, we've been going for a few weeks now and we're pretty tired, and that exhaustion, that physical and emotional exhaustion, you know, starting to kick in. So really helpful, I think, to just remember that you know, we're not in this alone, that if you are feeling this way, you are by no way are you the only person feeling like this, that there are a lot of doctors feeling like this at the moment. A lot of people feeling like this at the moment. So what else is helpful? Well, it's helpful to know you're not the only one. It's also helpful to remember that although it might feel as if it's never going to end, that actually things will change and you will feel differently. So you're not going to feel and stay in this emotional place forever. It just doesn't work like that as human beings. Some of our emotions stay around for a bit longer, some we get stuck in, but generally speaking, our circumstances change, our emotions change. And what I'm finding, even with those who are prone to depression, had depression before, and might be feeling like they're depressed again right now, it's not quite the same. It's for some of us, there will of course still be those of us struggling with depression where there's a more pervasive low mood all of the time, whereas for many of us it will kind of come and go a little bit more, or it may just last a few days, or it won't be as severe as it would be if we were depressed, or, you know, we might still be able to keep going through it, that sort of feeling. So it can feel very similar to depression, but also very different. So it's really important, if you're struggling with this, that, and you're not sure, you know, is this depressed? Am I depressed? Is this more than normal? That you check that out with someone, that you talk to people, that you share with people what you're experiencing, and just check it out and just think, is this normal? Is this not? So yeah, I think it's important to know you're not alone in feeling this way. If you are worrying about whether this is more than just a reaction to what's happening, and whether you might be depressed, then to get some advice and professional support with that, and I can signpost you at the end of this video for that. The other thing that's really, really important right now is pacing. So there's this phrase that we've been using a lot, you know, that this is a marathon, not a sprint, and that is absolutely the case. This is a long haul, and I've done a marathon. It was hard. It was really, really hard, and most of us aren't suited to running a marathon. I don't think I was particularly suited to it, and I think certainly in the sense of COVID being like a marathon, we weren't. It's not like we prepared and we're gearing up for this for months and months and months and months beforehand, and you know, that we were gathering our, you know, resources like you do when you get fundraising and things like that. It was very much something that kind of came out of the blue, and it's almost like we've been put at the front line of a marathon to run a marathon without actually having trained for it. And it's worth remembering that even if you train for a marathon, even if you pace yourself, even if you do all the right things, all the right training, it's still really hard. It's still really exhausting. You still need to pace yourself. You still need to take in adequate fluid, and you need to have rest, and you need to you know, look after your basic needs. And so this is a marathon, and pacing is so important. So when we get to those really hard bits, not like pushing ourselves so much to try and get through those hard bits that we then absolutely don't have anything left for the rest of the race. So pacing, really, really important at this stage. So what does that look like? Well, it means taking your breaks when you're at work, even if there are sick patients that need looking after. You have to pace yourself in order to be available and to do good work to help more people. It means taking your days off, not volunteering for those extra shifts and all the time to kind of push yourself beyond your limitations. It means taking time off, like annual leave and things like that, when you can, and trying to get that downtime. And because we have to do that, we have to have those moments where we step back and we recuperate in order to be able to keep going, and providing the kind of healthcare that we want to provide for our patients, and the support for our families as well. So yeah, that's some of the things that are going to really help. So remember, you're not in this alone in feeling like this. Remember, if you are worried, that there is support out there, and I would signpost you, there's a 24-hour support text line. You can text frontline, the word frontline, to 85258, and that's 24/7 support for any NHS or frontline staff. So text frontline to 85258. There's also helplines available through NHS People. If you go to, the best thing is, I think, to go to the Practitioner Health website, because all of these resources are listed on there. So there's lots of helplines you can call, there's lots of one-to-one support you can get, there's drop-in common rooms that you can drop into daily, there's free mindfulness, there's free apps, there's all sorts of wellbeing support for you. So if you are struggling with this a little bit more, please know that there's lots and lots of support and wellbeing related stuff out there, and you'll be able to find something that works really well for you. You don't have to do all of it, just pick the things that work for you. So yeah, remember you're not alone. Do reach out for support and lean on others and talk about what you're feeling like, because it was really helped to feel that you're not the only one going through this. And pacing, really remember to pace yourself right now, so taking your rest and taking your breaks. As always, please, if I can help you in any way, if I can signpost you to support, or if you just want to give some feedback about videos, or ask me to do a video on any particular topic, please get in touch at caroline@joyfuldoctor.com. I really love hearing from you. I've had some lovely emails back from you, and it really makes the world of difference to me and helps me through this difficult time, so thank you. And I hope this video has been helpful. I'll see you again soon.